This is our video for the 2-3-1 formation and how it can be translated to the 9v9 in a 2-3-3 formation, and then how it could be translated to 4-3-3 in the 11 aside. The video is in response to Sean Monahan's video on the strengths and the weaknesses of the 2-3-1. His channel is called The American Soccer Coach on YouTube, and his Twitter handle will be below in the description. So we use the 2-3-1 formation in a 7 aside. I'm going to go over some reasons why, and then the strengths and the weaknesses of doing so. So as you can see here in the 2-3-1, when we're building out, we already have the natural U shape or horseshoe shape here with the 2 center backs and the 2 and the 3, and you're building a relationship with the 6 and the goalkeeper when you're building out. So the structure for the 4-3-3 is already being built at the 7v7 formation, and this helps the players understand the base of how to build out of the back. It gives them the natural shape. They understand kind of their spacing, their relationships with each other, and we find it successful. So also we're kind of doubling up now. So this guy here is a 2, or he could be a 7. This guy here could be a 3, or he could be 11. So when these players are in attacking positions, so when after we build out, we're in the attacking phase, and we're here and here, now you have your front 3 relationship. So you have your attacking structure with the front 3, and maybe this is a 10, but when we're building out of the back, we got our 2 and our 3 that's connected to the 4 and the 5, and the goalkeeper and the number 6. So this is how we build out. This is typical spacing. So we have our 2 and our 4 and our 5 here. We'll have our 2 up high. We'll have our 3 up high. The 6 will drop in, and the 9 will be somewhere near the halfway line, depending on how deep we want and how high we want them. This is critical to learning at this age, we feel, because now we're developing these 2 players, the center backs, on driving forward and receiving the ball and looking to pass to these passing lines, or pass centrally, where we could switch the fields, or we could connect and go forward with an inside-out sequence. All right, so the reason why we feel this is better than a 3-2-1 is if this is a 3-2-1, this is your center back. Your 2 and your 3 would split. Obviously, this is just starting positions, and they would move wide, and then your strikers up high. But you don't want your number 2 and your number 3 receiving the ball off the goalkeeper and driving forward. Typically, you want your 2 and your 3 in these areas up here. So developing those guys to receive the ball in those areas is kind of counterproductive and wasted time. So what we do is we have, again, we have our 2 and our 3, our 4 and our 5 receiving there instead, and then they're already at the ages of 8, 9, and 10 learning how to drive the ball forward into this area and look for passing sequences going forward in this area, that's typically where you're going to have your center back making decisions and building out play. So that's a huge advantage versus the 3-2-1. Going back to how it doubles up on positions, this can be your 2 during the build-up, this can be your 3 during the build-up, but this is also your 7 in the attacking phase, and this is your 11 in the attacking phase. So at the ages of 8, 9, 10, you're not really sure where the player may end up. So to develop this person on any wing position is beneficial to the player, and to develop this player in both the attacking midfield and the defensive third is beneficial to the player. Usually we look, if this kid's got a lot of athleticism, he enjoys running up and down, if he likes taking people on and he's good in 1v1 duels, this is where we would place that player. These guys aren't center backs and that's the be-all end-all, but if this guy's got good timing, they're responsible, they don't lose the ball, they have good vision, we put them somewhere in these 3 rows here. So that's kind of how we feel where the player belongs at these very, very early ages. All right, so let's talk about the negatives of a 2-3-1 formation. As you can see, this guy here is exposed numerically. So if the other team is playing with 2, this can cause problems. But we feel that it's a good trade-off because we still have this structure here, which we feel is more important than kind of just being outnumbered centrally here. All right, so another disadvantage of the 2-3-1 versus the 3-2-1, or just having two central midfielders, is that they don't have a relationship together like they do in a 3-2-1 formation. So if this guy checks in here to get the ball, this guy might move into a different position here, and based on the relationship of the first player. If he doesn't get the ball here, he might come back out, where this guy will come back in here to receive the ball there. So that relationship here in a 2-3-1 is never developed, but we feel that by developing that horseshoe structure and the front three, it's a give and take. You can't have everything, obviously, because there's not 11 players in the field, but we feel like this is the best that we can do with these numbers, and yeah, that's what we chose. That's the road we chose. All right, so kind of just reviewing the 2-3-1, you have basically everything you need in this system except the midfield relationship. You have your back four, and then again, when we're attacking, you're going to have your front three. These guys are going to be higher when we're attacking. You have your two center backs, and you have your striker. So you have everything except this midfield here, and we feel that's a good trade-off. One other thing that we would like to point out is you can also teach these guys things like overlapping if they're two and a three, which we encourage. So let's say that the ball's out here with our 7. If he drives inside here on the dribble, we encourage this guy to read that, and he'll get around here and overlap, and this guy will just shift here, and yeah, it would look like a 1-4-1 at times. We don't mind that because, again, these guys might become 2s and 3s in the future, so we teach them to read that overlap. We're not really concerned about getting countered. We're not really concerned about saying, hey, our 4 is overlapping. We look at them as just, they're deeper. They're starting deeper in this shape than these guys or these guys. It doesn't mean that they're the last man until they turn 11v11. So we look to introduce these things. Now, one thing that we do, its preference, is that we won't do that in this area, but we will do that in this area and this area. So just teaching kids risk management. All right, so another thing I want to go over is the goalkeeper. Just because I put that there doesn't mean that this guy's stuck here the whole game, especially on corner kicks, where we set up something like this. 1 or 2 guys in the corner, 1 or 2 guys in the box. If it's a corner kick, our starting position is that we have the goalkeeper here. That's your build-out line. We have him somewhere in this zone. He's almost like a sweeper, and we're not really concerned about if he gets beat. That's not really our objective. Like, obviously, we don't want to get beat here, but if they play along and he comes and clears it out to build that confidence and that relationship of him understanding that he's not standing in the box, is important to us. So we use the goalkeeper as a sweeper big time, and an extra player in the field when we're attacking. All right, so now we're moving into the 2-3-3 formation at the 9v9 level. And the reason for this is because we feel that it's a good progression from the 2-3-1 into the 2-3-3, and then with the idea to move forward to the 4-3-3 formation at 11v11. So again, we have our 4 and our 5. They're able to split, so if the goalkeeper has the ball, whether it's a goal kick or a restart, or he caught and saved the ball, our 4 and our 5s will split. They go to these areas. The 7 and the 11 will become 2s and 3s during the defensive build-up, the build-up in the defensive area, and then now finally we can start to develop this midfield 3. With the 6 and the 8 and the 10, or if you want to play 2 6s and a 10, that's not really, it doesn't really change anything. You still have your midfield 3 now. Now this is major because that pattern that we talked about before with the horseshoe or the U, whatever you call it, is now it's going to be their 3rd year of doing it. It's the 3rd year of having a 6 drop into that area there. Your striker, he's obviously a target, and then we're going to talk about these relationships here and how we move forward. All right, so why this is important to keep the 2 in the back, 2 center backs in the back for your, the 9v9 is because we want our 4 and our 5 be getting the ball here in these positions, driving forward, and making decisions, because that's their roles at 11v11 for our style of play. Now you notice that this is a 2 right now, and this is the 3 right now. Again, once we move up into the attacking phase, these guys are now 11s and a 7. So you're kind of doubling up on this position. These guys are they're learning 2 jobs. So right now you have a full back 4, you have your full midfield 3, and when we're attacking, we also have our full forward line of 3. So you're actually not really missing anybody. These guys are just doing 2 roles, but you have a full rank defensively, a full midfield rank, and a full attacking rank. All right, so here we have the 3-2-3, which is common. We're going to talk about why the 2-3-3 is a better formation for our style of play than this, and why we chose to go with the 2-3-3. Here is the same problem as the 3-2-1 from the 7v7, where if this is your center back, when he's dropping here during the build-up, that's not where the center back typically receives the ball. And what's happening is your 2 and your 3 are dropping here to receive the ball off the goalkeeper, and this is not where our 2 and our 3 are going to be receiving the ball at 11v11. Those guys are going to be in these areas up here. So you're developing for now U11 and U12, these guys, to be driving forward instead of receiving in the higher position where they would be typically receiving the ball. Plus, your center back is not receiving the ball here and looking forward. Instead, he's receiving it here centrally as a 6. So we feel like that's detrimental to the player's development, because if you did a 3-2-1 and now you're doing a 3-2-3, that's 4 years of the center back not receiving the ball in these areas. Now, of course, if this guy drops out wide, you could do something with flexibility, but now the goalkeeper is going to probably lean towards this also, this way, because that's your center back. Even if he doesn't always go there and he goes here, this guy's receiving the ball and he's kind of now getting the bad ends of the stick there. So that's not the perfect way. It's not the be-all end-all. It's just how we envision it. So now we'll just talk about one other issue that we see with the 3-2-3, which is the center mids. And with the center mids, again, now you have only 2. In the 4-3-3, you're going to have 3. So not only are you wasting another 2 years of having not a correct relationship in the back, but you're also not having a correct relationship in the middle if you wanted to build towards the 4-3-3 model, because they're missing a player here. So yeah, so now you don't have a full rank here. You don't have a full rank here. You do have a full rank here. So while you might win more games, you're going to have to recalibrate everything. The players are going to have to relearn everything at 11v11. Whereas if you just, push this guy up and he's in there in the center mid, and then you just drag these guys inside more, and you made them as 2 center backs. Now you kind of, you're asking a lot from these players here, but you have full ranks everywhere with just 2 missing players. So the full ranks are there in a 2-3-3. It's just a matter of which phase you're in. When you're building up, you have your full rank here, and then when you're attacking, you have your full rank up high. So that's an advantage of the 2-3-3. That's kind of our view on how to drag the 4-3-3 all the way down to the 7v7 age group. If you have any questions, leave a comment, or you can message us directly on Twitter, Johan Junior Soccer. Mine is Jkokoris8, Jkokkkoris. You could, the number 8, you could find Profe Jose Lopez, Coach Christian V. They're all on our Twitters, on the Johan Junior's following, and follow Sean Monahan, and check out his YouTube channel, The American Soccer Coach. Right now we're struggling on our YouTube channel, but yeah, so we'll try to upload more content there.